Good afternoon and welcome to the New York Immigration Coalition's Road to Recovery video series. My name is Norma Melendez and I am the Immigrant Services Support Senior Events Associate and I will be your host. The NYC has put together a series of videos to share information and resources regarding economic recovery and resilience, remote learning, and social services to equip immigrant New Yorkers facing the challenges of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we'll be hearing from Eva Levy Lopez, the benefits specialist at Fifth Avenue Committee. She'll be providing an overview of SNAP benefits and the application process and the resources available for New Yorkers seeking food assistance. We want to take a moment to recognize that when we talk about public benefits, people think of public charge. We want to reiterate that the Trump public charge policy is no longer in effect. Rather, DHS and USCIS will follow the 1999 guidance, meaning that it is safe for immigrants and their families to use health, nutrition, and housing programs that they qualify for. The use of health, nutrition, and housing programs cannot be considered in a public charge test. A family member's use of public programs cannot affect your future immigration applications, and public charge doesn't apply to green card holders, asylees, refugees, or special domestic violence survivor visas. It never applies to US citizens, including the children of immigrants born in the United States. If you would like to speak to an immigration lawyer to discuss your personal case, the link to request a free legal consultation has been dropped in the chat. Please remember this is a public space. So we want to make sure it's as safe as possible for everyone. So please refrain from sharing your personal information. If you're looking for additional support, our contact information has also been put in the chat. Thank you to the New York City Council and the Department of Youth and Community Development for sponsoring this Road to Recovery event and for their ongoing support. Please join me and welcome Eva Levy. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, hello. So my name is Eva Levy Lopez and I'm from Fifth Avenue Committee. We are located in Park Slope, Brooklyn. And I'm going to be doing the presentation for food stamps, SNAP, which is called now. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so just let me move this. So SNAP formerly was known as food stamps. Food stamps is a public benefit that provides nutrition benefits to low-income individuals and families that are in need. And with food stamps or with the EBT card, which is on your left side of the PowerPoint, that is the card that pretty much everyone's going to be receiving. And with that card, you will be able to purchase food with any food store, bodega, or even those big stores like Costco or BJ's. Okay. Like I mentioned, I am from Fifth Avenue Committee. I am from the Unit Community Services, which we provide services to our community and whoever comes into our office. Now, those are the services that we provide to everyone. And I'm going to start with the benefit counseling because we are talking about food stamps or SNAP. Okay. Also, there's a hotline number on the flyer if you see all the way in the bottom. And that is the number where you could call so you could be scheduled for an appointment. Okay. Now, those are the max amount or the maximum allotment that people will get for food stamps. So it's all depend on your household. So if there's only one person, the max amount is 204. Now, if you have an income, obviously the 204 will change. It will probably decrease a little bit. Now, if you're a person that you don't have no unearned income or no income, and let's say you are being supported by friends or family, then you definitely qualify for the max amount, which is 204. That also implies with the rest of the number of household. Okay. So that's just letting you know because these are the max amount that you could get for SNAP. I want to say that when we do the application, there's a list of stuff that we could also do. So once you get approved, or if they request any additional documents, we help you to process those documents or to change your case or do periodic report, which I'll talk about it, or do your renewal. Okay. Now, the documents that you're going to need to apply for food stamps, it will be definitely your photo ID because they need to know who you are, your identity. They're going to need your Social Security card. Now, if you don't have a Social Security card because of your immigration status, that's not a problem. If your kids have Social Security card, those were the ones that they will receive SNAP. Okay. Birth certificate or U.S. passport, your lease and utility bills. Those are very important. I'll explain why.
Mm-hmm.
Your rent receipt and school letter for your kids if they're currently attending school. And when I say school, that will be from kindergarten to 12th grade, because college students are screened very differently for SNAP. Daycare letter if you are currently paying for daycare, your income, whether that is your 4 last pay stub, if you get paid weekly, or if you get paid bi-weekly, then it will be your 2 pay stubs. Also, I want to mention if you are freelance or you work self-employed, that is called, there's a lot of family that they get stuck in that part because since they cannot get a letter from the different employers that they work, then sometimes HRA reject them because obviously participants don't know what to submit. So we usually call those self-employed, and what we always help our participants to do is just write a letter of what you're doing, what's your occupation, whether that is, cleaning houses, babysitting to different families, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Write down what you do, that you work for different employers, and how much you have earned in the last 30 days. Okay, not 4 weeks, last 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
because HRA counts 30 days. Okay,
And
so
would
mhm.
that letter need to be notarized, or is that just something that you have to type up yourself?
Yeah, you could type it or you could write it on your own language because HRA does
Mm.
have someone to translate it. So if
Oh.
someone, let's say, if they know only Spanish, if they don't know English, they could write their own letter in Spanish. The important thing is
Mm-hmm.
that they have to mention what they do, like what type of work
Mm-hmm.
they're doing, how much they earn in the last 30 days, a phone
Mm-hmm.
number, a date, and their signature. Those are the major,
Okay.
more important to be on the letter. It doesn't need to be notarized. Okay, and who can qualify for SNAP that are non-citizen? So that will be refugees, um, green card holders, U.S. citizen, or any of the categories that are in that page. Okay. Also, green card holders, to mention that even though they have green card, if they have not have their green card for 5 years, they won't be able to apply for food stamps. They will get denied. They have to have their green card more than 5 years in order for them to get approved. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something
And
to know. Mhm.
yes, and you also mentioned that the children of immigrants who have a social security number also qualify. Is
Yes.
there
So
a certain amount of years for that?
no, no. So, I mean, once the child is born, right away, you could do like a change form if you're currently receiving food stamps to include
Mm-hmm.
that child born on their case. And obviously, their SNAP allotment will increase.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. That also include, because I know there's some families that they receive WIC,
Mm-hmm.
and they can receive both WIC and food stamps. Mhm.
Great, that's awesome.
And also, under age 18, I know that they put their LPR under age 18. That is only if they are with their family. But if there's, let's say, someone of 19 or 20 years that
Mm-hmm.
live with their parents, they still have to be part of the household. Even though they're working, they're independent themselves or stuff like that, just the fact that they are sharing meals, like let's say mom cooks, so the
Mm-hmm.
son eats from the food, then that is sharing meals, and they have to be part of the household. Now, if that minor, because for them it's for HRA for food stamps, they're minor. They have to be 22
Mm-hmm.
years old in order for them to decide to get out, to let's say to how to say remove from food stamps or independent themselves, so they can apply by themselves. But other than that, they have to be part of the household, the application for food stamps, unless they move out.
And
Mhm.
so, for a college student that wanted to apply for SNAP benefits, would they still be considered part of their household, or would that be considered as an independent?
Household. So it will be part of the house, especially if the parents are paying tuition, they
Mm-hmm.
will be considered part of the household. But I know that HRA screen college students differently, and
Mm-hmm.
the regulations that they have is that if the college student is full-time, they don't qualify for SNAP. If the student is half-time, which is 6 credit or less, and working work study, they qualify for SNAP. This all depend of their status of student.
Mhm.
HRA has 3 categories to screen their participants to see if they qualify for food stamps. So as you can see, we have the income guideline for household without without earned income, no elderly, and no disabled. So the way they do is that they count your gross amount, not your net. Your net is what you take home. They count pretty much what is in your check, the gross amount before taxes and any other deductions. So what they do is that they count it by 30 days and they multiply pretty much your pay stub for 4.33, which is the 4 weeks plus those extra days of the month. Okay, and that's the way to know, how much is your income for 30 days. So for one person, the max amount that you allowed to earn to qualify for SNAP is 1,383. The same thing with the rest of the number of household. 2 people, 1,868. Okay, so that
Mhm.
number. It's only for household without earned income.
Mhm.
That could be, let's say, they're not working, they're being supported by friends and family. Okay. Now, the other one is income guideline for the household with earned income, no elderly, and no disabled. Okay. So that, if you could see the number increase of the qualification of income guideline. So one person, if, in order for them to qualify for SNAP, will be 1,595.
Mhm.
The same thing applies with the rest of the family side. Also, I forgot to mention to the left with the without earned income, people that are receiving unemployment because their income are considered unearned, they will fall in that category of the 1,383 for one person. So we went through the no elderly and no disabled with earned income.
Mhm.
Let's go to the other one. The other one is the family that have elderly or
Mhm.
disabled and childcare. Okay, and they're earning income. So childcare, when I said the childcare letter is because when HRA determine how much you're going to get of SNAP
Mhm.
allotment is based off your income, the size of your household, and your expenses. Okay. So in this part, if you could see, if you realize the max amount of income that you're allowed to earn does go up to 2,126 for one person. And the same thing goes with the rest. Okay. And like I
Mhm.
mentioned before, like if you want to see if you qualify or not, just multiply your gross income, your four last pay stub by 4.33. So like that, you can
Mhm.
know, if you qualify or not. What's going to happen with food stamps? Let's say once you get your food stamps, you get approved. You have to renew your food stamps every year. Usually HRA sends you the package to renew your food stamps 2 months before the month that you're due. So you have 2 months to work on putting papers together and all that stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, periodic report, it's very important to submit it. And the periodic report, pretty much you're going to receive it 6 months after you get approved for food stamps. And pretty much that's what it is that they want to see if there have been any changes of household, changes of income, or if you have moved, stuff like that. Okay. If you do not send a periodic report, they're going to cut your benefits, unfortunately. So it's like if it was like a 6 month renewal. That's the way we
Mhm.
see it, you know. So that is
Mhm.
that. Now, when you do a recertification, the documents that you need to submit HRA is a little less than the first time, because pretty much on the renewal, they just want to know any updates on your rent, on your address, your utilities. Let me see, school letter. School letters are very important if your kids are going to school because they need to see that they go into school and where they live, and proof
Mhm.
of income, whether that is unearned or earned income. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you do allow your benefits to expire, is there a way to renew them even after they've expired?
So when you mean expire means they didn't renew their SNAP.
Yeah, like
Okay.
they missed the deadline to renew. What happens then?
So my suggestion is always wait until they get the letter that their SNAP has been cut off. Because if, let's say, they do it too early, the new
Mm-hmm.
application to have SNAP, and their system's going to show that they still have it because they have not closed the case yet. So that's why it's better to wait for the HRA letter saying that it's closed, and then you could apply again. It will not be called renewal. It will be a
Mm-hmm.
new application, and it will not be the same case neither. it will be a new case number. So it's like starting from all over again, you know?
Okay, so then you would need all those documents that you mentioned in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
Okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm. Now, once you submit your SNAP application, it takes 30 to 45 days. During your interview, after you do your application, you're going to be scheduled for an interview. And what's going to happen is that they're going to verify pretty much everything that you have submitted, in your application. If they ask for any additional documents that maybe you forgot to submit, or maybe you thought it was not necessary, stuff like that, you have only 10 days to submit it to HRA after you do your interview. If you don't do it between those 10 days, they do mail you a letter asking you the following missing documents that you need to submit. Now, it's important to submit those documents ASAP, because that's where it's going to start the 30 days process. So once you submit the documents that they're asking, that's when the time starts running. So that's why I said the faster you provide the documents, the sooner you will hear from them. Okay. Now, if you get denied for food stamp benefit, or your case got closed, like I mentioned, you could apply again. You have all the right to apply.
Okay. Yes.
Pretty much.
And if you get denied the first time, because you like applied by yourself or something, is a benefit specialist going to help you figure out why that denial came through?
So HRA does give an explanation on the letter, but sometimes the word doesn't make no sense to the participants. So we do explain it to them why, and especially when it has to do of income, because HRA has a way to calculate the income, and we, as everyone, we calculate our income for 4 weeks, but HRA does it for 30 days, and there's like a formula, and pretty much we kind of break it down to them why they got denied because of over income and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe that is all regarding food stamps. Now, this is a flyer of job training that Brooklyn Workforce Innovation, which is under Fifth Avenue Committee, provides to the community. So I know that each job training has their own different number to know the information about their sessions and how long the program is and stuff like that. Okay. And that's it.
Thank you for sharing. We will be opening it up for live questions. If anyone wants to drop them into the Q&A box, we'll be answering them now. And to get us started, one of the questions that we've been hearing from just community members is regarding how income is verified. Especially they want to know if it's true that a bank account will be reviewed when applying for SNAP.
So if you have a bank account, yes, especially if you are self-employed or you don't have no income, they do ask for bank account to see that how you've been surviving or how you've been earning your income, as a self-employed. So they do ask, yes.
Okay, and then does Fifth Avenue Committee serve community members that live in other boroughs, or only community members based in Brooklyn?
No, we serve everyone that comes in, everyone.
Great. And
so they don't have to be in Brooklyn or Park Slope. They could be in other boroughs.
Yes, and we've also shared your contact information in the comment section as well. If folks speak other languages, can you also help them there?
So we usually refer our participants, like if they don't know the language and we don't know the language neither, we refer them to an organization that has that language. We used to have an interpreter, but we no longer have that grant. So we just refer them.
Okay, and then what can someone do if they think they qualify but aren't sure if they qualify for SNAP benefits?
They can still apply. I mean, whether you think you qualify or not, you still have the right to submit an application, and HRA will determine if you qualify. Now, if you want to be screened to see if you qualify, you can always sit down with a CBO that does food stamps application, and they'll review all your documents, your income, and they'll see if you qualify or not.
Okay, and then in terms of unemployment benefits, I know you mentioned that if someone has unemployment benefits, they still can qualify for SNAP benefits. Is there a cap on the amount they might receive through SNAP if they're on unemployment?
So if they're unemployment and like you want to know like the SNAP amount, so it all depends. So let's say they will fall in this category. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say that if one person that's unemployed receiving unemployment and their unemployment is like 500 and something weekly,
Mm-hmm.
they don't qualify. And I know that because
Oh.
a lot of participants that have that amount, it's over income. Now, if their unemployment is maybe like somewhere 158, 230, those are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that they qualify because they don't make more than this amount. And that's only if they're solo. If they have a family, then that's different, because it will
Mm-hmm.
be counting themselves and whatever kids and wife they have, you know. Mhm.
Yeah, so the household is really important to take into consideration
Yes.
when qualifying.
Hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
Mhm.
then if someone is undocumented, is there any way for them to apply for SNAP benefits?
Yeah, so they could go to an office like us that
Mm-hmm.
does food stamps, or they could do it online, which they could do it at Access, let me see, NYC.gov, Access HRA.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, I think they do have Spanish version to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
they could apply there, or go to another organization if you want to do it with somebody face to face with an organization in your neighborhood. Mhm.
Yeah, and then to change this just a little bit, but I know you mentioned workforce development. So what kind of job training is available through Fifth Ave Committee?
So we have Redwood on the Road, which is getting your CDL, I believe so they're called, to drive buses, yellow buses or
Mm-hmm.
trucks. Okay. So you complete the training and they help you to seek for jobs. Okay. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have Brooklyn Network, and Brooklyn Network pretty much is working with wires and like technology stuff. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, you complete your course and they look for jobs. So all the programs, they help you with that. We have Brooklyn Wood, which pretty much is like a carpenter. You learn how to
Mm-hmm.
use your hands and do stuff with wood.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Made in New York Assistant, which is training that helps you to work behind the scenes when they are doing movies or shows or stuff like that. So you do a lot of running around. Now, Made in New York, it's most of the jobs that you get there is a freelance. So let's say in
Okay.
1 year you could end up working like for 5 different companies or 5 different employers. And they have good seasons and they have bad seasons. So it could be a little
Yeah.
tough. I would say it's more like for someone that don't have no kids, because it does take your time, honestly, because
Mm-hmm.
your schedule could be a daytime and it could be a nighttime. It could
Yeah.
it's not flexible you know now
Mm-hmm.
Made in New York post production, that is after they complete Made in New York assistant, and that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much using computer to increase the editing or virtual of shows or stuff like that is
Mm-hmm.
going to be happening. And also Nitro Resident Training Academy, that is only for only Nitro residents, and pretty much they are trained to work within the Nitro as a janitor or any help on the builds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that usually that program, their students come from another program. I think they're called Reese, if I'm not wrong, that they provide a whole list, to us so we could
Mm-hmm.
choose or interview our students for Nitro residents job training. Hmm.
Yeah, and if
Those are.
someone has more questions about these programs, can they also call the same benefits hotline?
No, so if you realize every job training has a phone number in the bottom, and that's because every program has a different regulation and qualifications. So
Mm-hmm.
and so it's important to call at the right number so you will not get the runaround. And like that, when is the next session for orientation and what kind of documents you're gonna need and how long the job training will be, stuff like that. Mhm. So the numbers are there in the flyer, and it's very important to call them directly.
Great, thank you. And we will be sharing this flyer as well. So please keep an eye out. It will be popping up and it will be available to everyone. And it
Mhm.
will be linked when the videos get circulated on social media as well.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Eva Levy.
You're
It doesn't
welcome.
look like we have any more questions coming in, but this is really useful information. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, I forgot to mention about undocumented family.
Mhm.
Their income doesn't count fully when they have kids born here. Pretty much their income get divided by only the kids that are eligible for SNAP. So let's say a family of four, two parents, undocumented, and two kids who are born here, the income, whatever the income the father or the mom does, is they add it and they divide it by the four people and they multiply it by the eligible kids, and that's the only income they count, not the whole income of the household, just because not everyone qualified for SNAP. So I just kind of wanted to say that, so like that they know that, that income is different when it comes to undocumented family.
Yeah, it's really helpful to know because then that also changes if they would qualify for a different bracket, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really helpful.
Mhm.
And in that case, let's say if we did have a family of 6, but only 2 qualified, would they then be able to get that max amount for the bracket that they fall under?
Most of the time they do. Most of the time when it's a big family and let's say in
Mhm.
only few people qualify for SNAP, most of the time I was want to say like 90% they get the max amount.
Okay, and the last question I think we have is just what mistake do you find people do often on their SNAP applications?
One thing I could say is that people get nervous when they request information about their bank. So
Mhm.
they start saying, well, I have a bank before, but not anymore. But guess what? HRA is going to ask you for the letter of the bank saying that you no longer have a bank account. So if you have a bank account, stay with it. Just provide them, your bank statement. That's one of the common mistakes that I hear a lot. And also
Very
the
good.
letter of a person that let's say is self-employed and cannot get a
Mhm.
letter. Most of the time they don't know what to do or who to run to because they don't have pay stubs or they don't get personal checks, but they cannot get a letter. So most of the time they just let it be and that's when they get denied. So that's another common mistake.
Yeah, this is incredibly helpful. And I definitely think transparency is key, right? Especially when we're seeking help, trying to make sure that we're going to safe and secure sources like Fifth Avenue
Mhm.
Committee. So if we do have questions, they're a trusted source to like give us that information. So thank you so much, Eva Levy, for
You're
joining us
welcome.
today. That is all the time we have today. Thank you, everyone, for
Welcome.
joining us. This recording will be available on the NYIC's Facebook and YouTube page soon, and they will also be subtitled into multiple languages, including Spanish, Bengali, Arabic, Haitian Creole, and I always forget the fifth one. It will come back to me, but it will be available in multiple languages.
Mhm.
To stay involved with the New York Immigration Coalition and Fifth Avenue Committee, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Stay safe, take care, and enjoy your rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.